Welcome to another exciting episode of the double-decker deck build, where we turn our single deck into a two-story deck. If you're still not sure why we're doing it, don't ask, either do we. Last episode, we dug the holes, we concreted in the posts, and we built the frame, as well as weed barrier and a few other boring points. This episode, we finally get the decking boards on, we get the siding on, and there's a little surprise at the end. First pain in the arse boring job is we need to cut the post down, but I can't think of a good tool to get rid of it, so a hand saw it was. One nice rusty saw. One down. Done. Okay, we're back for day two. There's not actually that much to do today. All we have to do is, let me show you. We need to cut down these hanging brackets. According to YouTube, they're not actually needed and I don't want them creating a gap on the boards. So I'll cut the tabs off the top. I need to put in the rest of the supporting posts, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, because remember, I've got some concrete pads under all the centers of these. So support it, screw them in, and we'll have center points. And then all after that we have to do is just screw the boards down. Sounds simple enough. So we're in for a good day. So on second thought, instead of cutting all these down, getting the angle grinder out and stuff, why not I just do this? It's going to save me half an hour. I can't see it making any difference whatsoever. I'm just going to do that. Screw it. I'll just wait for the influx of comments telling me I'm an absolute idiot. I don't know what I'm doing, but I welcome them because it helps the algorithm. So go for it. So from these post off cuts, I don't even need a new post now. Oh, you can't even see me. Right, so let's find out where I put these concrete pads. 233, so 115, 116.5. 116.5 should be 16.5. Right, so we're going in this corner for the center post. Right there. Oh yeah, feel that nice and sturdy. I'll mark the post with a pencil, cut it nice and flush, screw it in. I'll probably try and create a bit of tension by lifting up one of these floor joists, just so it's better than it being loose and there being a gap underneath it. And I've got some nice strong screws which I used for the corner post, which are structural screws, so it should be plenty strong enough. Got 5 more posts going in, so it's going to be, for a little deck, it'll be pretty solid, I hope. So the frame is now done. We're now going to move on to the boards, and I'm trying not to blind myself in this sun. But I'm going to put the decking boards on top and then we'll figure out the siding at some point. But yeah, let's get to it. So the way I've designed this frame is to be able to take half of one board. When you're designing stuff like this, you ideally want to take into account the lengths of timber that you can get and try and maximise it the most you can. Because if I put it a little bit bigger, I'd have a lot more wastage. So luckily for me, you can see here, we have over 4.8. So that means we get 2 boards out of 1 piece of timber with 2 centimetres of wastage. So I'm not wasting any money, which is perfect. Obviously, it's not always possible if you've got an exact thing in mind, but it was roughly around the size we wanted anyway. We're thinking 2.5 by 2.5, so like 10 centimetres makes no difference to us anyway. So let's cut all of these down to 240 centimetres, and it should be a simple case of lay the first one down nice and straight, 5mm gap, work our way down. Nice and bright today. Right, so I've got my marks. Do a straight line, nice straight line, and a nice sharp pencil. That's what I use, tracers. Very popular now. A bit hipstery, but whatever. You want to make sure you cut this as dangerously as possible, which is what I'm doing right now. You want to make sure you're on the outside of that edge. you need to make sure you nearly cut your hand off when you're doing it. Top tip. Right, let's see how this measures up. Little gap there, looks beautiful. Now let's cut this other one down. Right, sorry about the terrible lighting, but I just wanted to show you. So the first one, it's probably quite hard to explain. Is that safe to put there? Probably not. We have my spacer block, which is the offcut of the deck. We're going to put deck board all the way around the whole thing. So we want to make sure we've got the right gap all the way around this outside edge so it overlaps this. So we just need to screw this first one down and then we should be able to shoot that way. Looking good. So I'll just get the timber screws now and screw the first one down, and then I'll get some spacers and then we just shoot on. So I've got the trusty decking screws. Let's get the first one down. So make sure you got your spacer handy to make sure it's not been knocked out of alignment. It's pretty good to me. Check my spacer on this side. Beautiful. And I want to go to the other side. Just put one screw in for now because then you can do some adjustments at the end like that. Right, first board in. Looking beautiful. So you want 2 screws per joist and just work your way down. So this first board is now on and solid. So this is going to be the basis for everything to go this way. So let me get my spacers and then we can just start knocking these out, can't we? So I've got the spacers, and then the brown ones out of these are 5mm. So I just pop them in between and then screw them in place. We get a better view. So we want a space like that. And pop one at the other end just to make sure. Just want to make sure the spacing looks good on this. It does. Then lock it in with 1 screw. The reason we go with 1 screw is if you go on the other side, you can still adjust it side to side, like a pivot point. If you put 2 in, there's no adjusting. That's as easy as that. So now we'll just put 2 screws in every joist and move to the next one. Right, that's 2 boards in. It's basically rinse and repeat. So I'll try and set up a little nice fancy time lapse so you can see you go whoop, and then I'll talk to you about next steps and why I chose certain things or why I didn't choose certain things. We'll go through it all then. Welcome back to day 3 of the deck build. Why is it taking 3 days? I'm an idiot. So it would have been done last time, but I was literally 3 boards short, which is not annoying at all. And you might be thinking, why don't you just get a few more boards? Nip out in the truck, go get more. It was a bank holiday. No one was delivering and I had to wait. It was the Thursday. No one was in on Friday. No one's in on Monday. So I've had to delay it by a week. So behind me, I'm gonna add 3 more boards on the top. That's the top finished. Then we're going to add the siding on, which I will explain when we get to it. And another thing that I failed to explain on was spacing out these boards. So I showed you putting a spacer at each end and screwing it in, but you need to make sure it's spaced out all the way down, otherwise you can get a nice bow in the deck board. So when I'm finishing these 3 off, I'll show you how to do it properly, and then we'll move on to the siding. Let's get to it. Look at this mic placement, genius. So I'll cut down these last 3 boards, get these on, then we can work on the siding. The last step is going to be the stairs from this deck to the next deck, which I'll show you. But let's just finish off the easy bit first and then we'll move on. Right, let's try and give you a better explanation of what we're going to do. So between each decking board, we've got 5mm spacers. So we want to put one at the end, line it up, and the other end, which is lined up. And what you can see here, well, you might not see it, but this has got a bigger gap. So we need to bend this piece of wood so it's a consistent 5mm. So I do the ends in the middle to all 5mm. So this is a perfect example of if I would have just put 5mm spacers on each end, there would have been a big gap in the middle. So you need to make sure it's consistent all the way through, and you'll get nice, lovely lines just like that. Boards are on. Next step is to do all the siding. Normally people would just use decking boards to side it, but I don't want it looking like some ridged box. If you get what I mean, I want the sides of it to be smooth, not with decking boards. I don't know why, I feel like it just looked like a weird box if I did it that way. So step one, this post here. So we've got nothing to screw the siding on. So all I need is the same material I did the joists out of, down there, and then I've already done one here to show you, and at the end. So I've got 3 screwing points for the siding. It's not structural, so it doesn't need to be every 400. So I'll get all of these posts with the spacers on them to get everything nice and level. Then I'll cut down the planks I've bought, the treated planks. And I've got a secret weapon for the planks, which will be a lot quicker. And I'll just space them out every 5mm or something like that, just to get a consistent look. But it should look nice, hopefully. So put the spacers on the posts. My secret weapon. Nice and solid. They're heavy, them. I don't know how people nail them all day. Oh, bastards, that's who. So I'll just do that all the way around, then we're ready for the siding. Spacers are on. Time for the siding. I have these 100mm planks, and I'm hoping to do a miter joint on each corner, which means you won't see a big, nasty, ugly overlap. Let's face it, it's a deck, and I'm doing it with a handheld circular saw, so it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some gappage, but a bit of sanding, it'll be fine. It's a deck, I don't care. Well, I do care, but there are bigger problems in life, aren't there? Right, so as always, rather than measuring and bang the camera, rather than measuring and marking, I prefer. Oh my god, that was loud. I prefer to measure to the actual thing. So, right, I'm just going to cut it down so it's easier to manage. So I'll get it pinned against that board. Trusty dusty pencil out, mark. So I've got the mark, set the circular saw to 45. Actually, I'm going to do it at 46, just so it's a bit over. See, that's 45 degree, well, 46. Perfect. Right, that's good. So I'll do that for the first layer, mark them out, get the 45 degree angles on them, and then I can put them all up and nail them. And then I'll do that for each one down. Problem is, if you nail one on, you then can't hold your board up for reference, you know, to mark off, because it'll be in the way. So you're better off marking them all off first, nail in a row, then work your way down, because these are 100mm. I'm going to need 2 or 3 layers, I should imagine. Right, so that's this side done. One more side to go, and then I'm building my deck chairs. Still need to do the stairs, but I'll have to do that another day. I'm running out of daylight. All sides are on, and they're looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. Let me just show you where we're up to. So this gap down here is not a problem, because we're going to have a staircase going from this deck to this deck. Multi-tiered deck. So this rail's going to go, steps up to there, and the viewing platform. The reason we chose this is because I forgot that I've not screwed every board down. So the last little bit, let's get 2 screws in every joist and then set up the chairs. Oh, and I've got crap absolutely everywhere that I need to clean up, but one job at a time. So I think that'll do it for today. We've got the decking boards on, we've got the siding on, and we did the majority of the work. But coming up in the next episode, we're going to be building some stairs to go from deck 1 to deck 2, as well as a lot of other work with planters to get everything nice and sculpted, new flower beds. It's going to be great. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you for watching.